When I got to the train station, it was already 5:30, 6 o'clock. That first day was like, it is so fucking loud. It was like everybody's talking, people are moving, people are grilling you, looking at you. It just was a rush of everything. And I'm looking and I'm noticing, and then when I realized I'm actually standing there, I wasn't moving, I wasn't doing nothing. And my heart is beating and I was having a panic attack. And I just sat down in the corner, you know, and this homeless guy was there, and after like a half hour, you know, he said, "You okay?" I'm like, "I'm all right," you know. And I'm looking at him like, what does he want? Why is he next to me, you know? And he's like, "Oh, you just came home."
When I was leaving to go home, I remember the last thing that I saw as I'm leaving was all these male faces at these little windows, just watching you walk away. And that kind of stood with me, and you know, I think about it now, and the pain that I felt leaving them there, and then the pain that they must have felt knowing that I was leaving, going home, someone's going home.
January 15th I was out, so last year. Been home about a year, 4 months, 5 months. If we can get Ms. Rice to come, that would be an honor.
What?
I would definitely be saving a seat for her.
No, I'll be there. There's no such thing as justice in this society.
You're absolutely right. My name is Hamish. During my citizenship, they didn't kind of want to recognize a Hebrew name, so they said, "What does it mean in English?" And it was like, "Well, it means 5." And boom, and they stamped that on my paperwork, and now that's my name. Know your rights?
I was incarcerated for 12 years. I did 5 years in solitary.
I do a lot of work around solitary. I have an organization called Campaign for Alternatives to Isolated Confinement.
I did like probably 9 years in the box.
I did 5.
The thing is, our people, they don't know that we don't tell them.
And maybe if you can, we could sit down and kind of talk about solitary and give your point of view and your perspective. I would love that, man.
I got a lot of point of views on
Yeah, we did. This is why I'm out here. This is what I do. To be in a shelter, which everybody doesn't know, but to be just disenfranchised from society angers me, but at the same time, I still feel for people that's inside.
Solitary confinement started out in the 1800s. It was actually proposed by some Quaker reformists.
It's a place they send you to do penance, right? You violated the rules, and so we're gonna put you by yourself so you have nobody to communicate with, and you know, you're totally separated, and you're supposed to go look at yourself internally, and you know, you're supposed to come out, you know, a wonderful person.
Unfortunately, very quickly, they realized, and everybody realized, that it did not have that positive impact. And in fact, it had the opposite, counterproductive impact of having real devastation, that people were having severe mental health problems from being placed in isolation. And so they ended the practice at that time.
As a result of the drug laws, as a result of the crack epidemic, crime was rampant in New York City in the 70s. Rather than building the typical old prison cells, built these open dormitories because they were faster to build and they were cheaper to build. They are breeding grounds for inmates to commit acts of violence upon one another. And I think that that leads to more fights. The fights lead to the need to segregate inmates because there are grudges. So I think that the advent of open dormitories is certainly one of the factors that led to the growth in the use of segregation.
Solitary confinement has expanded exponentially.
I dispute the characterization of it as solitary confinement. It is indeed not solitary. In some jurisdictions, including in New York State, inmates have cellmates, so that is hardly solitary.
People who are double-celled are still just as isolated as the people who are single-celled. They're isolated from their family, they're isolated from prison programming, they're cut off from services, the same way that people who are by themselves.
And they put you in a cell with a total stranger, a small confined cell, one toilet, one sink, we have to do everything in front of each other. You'd think it would be cool, like, okay, hey, he's not really in solitary because he's with somebody else. But that is a problem.
2 inmates with a drug charge who are nonviolent, who are willing to cohabitate in a cell together, which is also important.
I have plenty of altercations with my bunkie. They put a bunkie in that I can't get with. You know, a guy coming down from a drug overdose. He's in the box because of the drug overdose, but they give him no reason, no treatment.
Double bunking throughout the system has become a problem at times.
We out here selling this bill of goods to the rest of the world about democracy, free markets, and fairness, and justice. And, you know. We overthrowing governments, man, because they abuse the people, you know. And we got this horror show going on right here in America.
So this whole part of the city, in some sense, is run by the Friends. Torture is a moral issue. Hangs up proudly.
I think I read a request from you for space.
Yeah, this is my request. Is it possible that even in the near future, that I could get, if we're working on things with Riverside, which I believe is a great thing, I don't want to, of course, ever lose the connection with that, but I also wanted to be able to have some type of office space.
I can possibly do it here, but office space here is a desk and a computer. It's not a room.
I don't even care. Just a base that I could work from, you know, because the Starbucks thing is killing me. If it's going to cost me something, I'll make that happen. You know, if there's additional work that you need me to do to assist you here.
That's usually what I ask. I think we can arrange something.
Wow, thank you.
Let me just confirm that
Right.
with my superiors.
Thank you.
And by tomorrow, I'll let you know.
Wow, thank you very much. Good people, you know? So if it's already established that that's my space, that's what I'm doing, then I could work wholeheartedly from there, you know? So I check my emails there between that and my phone, which I literally run everything off my phone.
So if everybody wants to come out, they can always come, it's always welcome. Come on.
I'm working till late.
It's gonna be a fight.
Hello? I have a question. I was talking with a friend about, you know, what we're doing and stuff. I know we talk a lot about the state jails, so she had asked me if this is also getting involved in like the city jails where people are also put in solitary.
The draft bill that we have, as it is now, includes both the city jails and state prisons.
Okay, good.
So it would cover Rikers and any local and county, city or county jail across the state that's in New York State.
She was asking about how people with alternative lifestyles or mental health issues are automatically put into SHU and Rikers without, you know, given the option to be put in population just because of the gender or how they may look or mental health issues.
The Jails Action Coalition is a little broader in that we're not only working on solitary, but
I have friends and family in prison. I have a brother who's been in the box over a year already. I have a brother who was recently convicted, and he's gonna be probably doing the rest of his life in there. But my brother has, along with his criminal behavior, has mental health issues as well. So not only is he angry and bitter, but he has mental health issues on top of that. So for corrections, to deal with his behavior, it's just put him in a cell, close the door, and that's how we'll calm his ass down. I've gone to visit him, and he's told me all the stories about being beaten up by officers, not being allowed to see medical, so there won't be no report. The same thing that happened with me when I was attacked.
I try to inspire her to say, yeah, all right, well, if you're not gonna come out to this film screening, if you're not gonna come out to this rally, then I guess the other LGBTQ, will come out. And she's like, really, who? And I'm like, nobody. Because if you don't come out, nobody's going to do this work. So we have to do this work.
Okay, deal is good. Move in, guys. Move in.
Put them away. Put them away where they belong.
Beyond Saudi Arabia, China, or Russia, nobody jails their population at the rate that we do.
There are more African Americans under correctional control today in prison or jail, on probation or parole, than were enslaved in 1850, a decade before the Civil War began.
I try to do these events to educate people because we have to recognize our responsibility in that fact.
Hi everyone, my name's Yvette. I am the supervisor for Housing Works. I work at a needle exchange program with people who use drugs. I've been in that profession for about 10 years. Like Muhammad, I myself did 7 years upstate. My interest in this is a little different. When I was sentenced, I went to a male prison. I was transgendered, and corrections did not know how to deal with me in that type of setting. So I wound up doing a lot of my time in solitary confinement because they wanted to protect me from the male inmates. My door cracked open a little bit, and then I saw him come in and he said, "It's a search." It wasn't nothing that was unusual, except that he was alone. He was a really big guy, like a 6'4", 6'5", white bear type guy. And he stood up in front of me and opened his shirt a little bit and then pulled his belt and stuff off and pulled his pants down. And at that time, I was looking at him and I was like, oh my God, I started to cry. I remember him grabbing me really, really rough and turning me around really quickly and putting my head sideways like on the pillow, rubbing his fingers on me. And they were kind of wet. What I'm thinking is some form of saliva or something. I really don't know. I'm bent over on the bed and I remember him leaning forward and he put his mouth right by my ear and he said, "You're gonna love this." I'm in there because of the safety of the people in population. But you know, how ironic it is that it was the officers who were supposed to protect me who was attacking me, because that was not my first attack by an officer. At night, really late sometimes, hearing these horrific sounds, and these sounds were coming from grown men crying in there. And I could hear them, you know? And then I started wondering, well, did anybody hear me when I was being attacked, you know? But no one could help me. You know, everyone's locked in, no one can help me. I'm doing okay, and I feel that it's my duty now to bring attention to myself and to the public what happens to people like me in prison.
We have a huge stem of organizations that work together because this solitary is torture, and you have people across the world, thousands in New York State, that are in a cell 23 hours a day, if they give you that hour out, in inhumane conditions. The events and panels educate a vast amount of people who don't understand how it connects to race, war on drugs, or mass incarceration, but especially solitary confinement. People don't understand the conditions. When they think of prison, they think that there's automatically humane conditions, because how can a society, how can a country like ourselves incarcerate 2 million people and treat them inhumanely?
I've been a correction officer. I'm still a correction officer with more than 30 years on the job. An inmate in solitary confinement gets more attention than an inmate would get in general population, whether it's medical, administrative, ministerial.
They say that the officer's supposed to check on you every 15 minutes. I would debate corrections with that, okay? I would debate it. I would go head to head with the biggest person in corrections on that. I used to not see an officer for hours. Sometimes I would see the officer on their count, on their shift, and then that was it. That was it. What if I had killed myself? No one would have known for hours and hours and hours.
You're no longer a person. When you're in New York State, they take everything from you. They take all your property, everything that you can say is mine, everything that you can identify with and make a choice with. They take that from you. They strip you down, literally strip you down, wash everything off of you, give you a little soap, disinfect you, and say, now you are mine, you are state property.
It's a creepy feeling. This is really bigger than a cell. When you first get into a cell, cleaning your cell is most important. You know, cleaning it, making your bed. It's a rule, but it's also a security measure because you have to search your cell. So as you're cleaning, you're scrubbing your frame down, you're washing your mattress down, kind of looking for everything that somebody else might have left behind, a weapon or something, because if you go into a cell, 5 minutes later, they can come search your cell, everything in there you're responsible for. You sign a receipt, as in saying you get a sink in working condition.
They're in the size of a cell that's the size of a small bathroom, and they're just stuck there. And when we go and visit the prisons, we see people at all times of day just sleeping. There's absolutely nothing for them to do.
It's different with long periods of time because you're going through, okay, let me make cards out of a piece of paper. You get 2 pieces of paper, you say, I'm gonna make some playing cards. You start playing solitaire by yourself. And you run out of that, and then you start getting magazines, maybe 1 or 2 magazines if you had in your property, you're gonna write every word in the magazine. What do you do beyond that? You know, I remember I had an argument with a guy 4 cells down over a magazine. He was like, I don't have no magazine to read. And I'm like, I hear you turning the pages. Like, you turning the pages, I hear you. And, you know, your hearing is super hard. You can hear the keys, you can hear the progression of doors open as they come to the tier. The worst thing is hearing people go to visits. You heard him up all morning getting ready for his family to come. Nobody just coming 5, 6 hours to come see me, or, you know?
The majority of the prisoners who are in these units have their heads and their bodies under a blanket. It's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning, and they are under the covers. They are trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but these are young, generally young, healthy individuals, and they've been reduced to hiding under covers.
It affects them mentally. Some it makes submissive. Some it makes angry. You know. And some come out of there in a rage. You know. Makes them bad, bitter, angry, and dangerous.
You can't hear nothing else. The sound of your voice gets annoying, so you turn it to an inside voice. And you start talking to yourself inside your head without anyone else. How do you know you're not going crazy? I gotta get out of here.
We do have inmates who max out of SHUs. I would say the majority of them probably do not participate in transitional services.
It's hard to imagine how somebody could spend 15 days, a month, 10 years inside a segregated confinement cell and come out and be able to talk normally to people.
When you have someone who's supposed to protect you, who's breathing down your neck, punching you and hurting you, and is forcing himself inside of you, telling you you're gonna like it, and he's breathing on you, and you can feel that breath on you, and that drool, and those hands, you know, that sticks with you for a while. It doesn't just leave. It's not that simple. If you would have asked me years and years ago where I would have been at today, I would have told you definitely not here. I appreciate the opportunity that life has given me again. This is where I do my testing, where I draw my blood, do all the paperwork. So this is like my small little medical office, my child's high chair. No, but that's where they would sit and we would draw, I would draw their blood. I really thought I was gonna do the rest of I thought I was gonna do 20-something years in jail, and fortunately for me, I was able to, you know, beat a lot of my charges and make it out. I met this really nice boy from Yonkers. We wind up being in a relationship for 4 years. We lived together, we did everything together. We were like inseparable. If he fought, I fought. I fought, he fought. If he cried, I cried. He was my first love. I'll never forget that. Unfortunately, his way of communication was not always verbal. It was most of the times physical. I was gonna leave him one time and actually have him not cut my face, he cut my arm. I went to the police department numerous times. They wouldn't help me. I was beginning to have enough. And I said, I need a gun. One night, it was around 2 in the morning. He's on top of me, kind of like almost forcing himself on top of me. I'm kind of resisting, and he starts to hit me. So when he finished doing what he had to do with me, he laid on the bed, and I guess he passed out drunk. I was looking at him for a long time. I think maybe an hour or two passed. He was out cold. And I started tapping the bed. He kind of woke up, and he said, "Why are you waking me up?" And then he saw the gun, so he sat up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I looked at him, and I said, "This was the last time that you hit me, and it's gonna be the last time that you're gonna hit me ever again." And I pointed the gun at him, and I shot him 3 times.
The general public has to realize that we're dealing with the most dangerous and disruptive people from society.
My first offer was 25 to life. I beat all charges except criminal possession of a weapon.
You have to hold people accountable for the behavior. You have to enforce the rules, just as we do in society. So what can you do?
We have officers thrown on urine and feces daily, assaulted daily.
I'd be the first to say that we probably over-rely on segregation in prisons just as we over-rely on incarceration in society at large.
Albany's a funny town. It's small, you know?
We're going to a small town outside of Albany, too. So.
We're going to Troy.
Yeah.
My friend, he lives in Troy.
Yeah.
He lived in Pond Hill. Like, he lives in his father's, like, very well off. We was doing real estate together in the 90s. Until some cops who ran the town was like, "Oh, you're making way too much money up here." They said it was drug transactions, and then I got locked up in the city because they said I was trafficking in between states, and they tried to hit me for every county in between. And the feds was watching them. They ended up locking them up. Like, the case was so big that when they raided the precinct, like, one of the cops ran in the bathroom with his brains out. And these guys had drugs. They were distributing drugs to the town, making people pay them. My original charges were tax evasion, weapons possession, extortion, trafficking. I had 33 to life. I was pretty much probably gonna die in jail. For me it was. 33 to life was not in jail. So I was exonerated on some charges, but I had to plead out to something.
So we're meeting everybody at Prisoners Legal Services at 12 o'clock, and we're going to load our model solitary confinement cell into a big truck that we've rented, and we're going to take it over to the venue, which is the Sanctuary for Independent Media.
Take the Garden State Parkway North ramp.
This is the model solitary confinement cell that was actually built for, the congressional testimony back in August.
This is the first ever congressional hearing on solitary confinement. This is a replica of a solitary confinement cell. There is no way that a brief visit there could give you any feeling for what it must be like to spend extended periods of time.
So this solitary confinement cell has been in Congress, which is kind of exciting.
This is for?
Don't put it. No, I think. Can you lay it down like right here?
This is the floor?
No. But just lay it down right now, and then we'll. It's the wall, but. So what I think. So this tells us. So this is how long it is. This is the biggest dimension. So we could do it like with the door to the cell, like here.
Oh, it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
You just have 10 years, strapped away from your life, and you come back, you're homeless, you have no way of taking care of yourself, and you have to struggle. And it just kills me because people are so tortured that when they escape slavery, they don't have nothing to do with it. They don't want to have nothing to do with it whatsoever. And they just want to live the rest of their life. I can't lay down like that. First, I have to thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Mualimmak-Yvette. I am with the NJC and also the Campaign for Alternatives to Isolated Confinement. I myself was incarcerated for 12 years. I did 5 years in solitary.
Those people who commit behavior that we deem as problematic need more support, more programs, more therapy, more services, more time out of their cell, more social interaction that can help them to thrive.
In totality, I'm against the system. I, don't believe in the system itself. And that's what a revolutionary is, To be a black revolutionary intelligent military soldier means that you have to be extra changed. You're not just a normal citizen. You know how to use discipline over rage, intelligence over ignorance to make wise decisions, because you're not just you, it's your brotherhood in a sense too. You understand that there's certain attributes of a man: love, trust, honor, respect, and loyalty. These principles are what guide you.
Solitary confinement is inhuman, man. Because every human being that we see has the potential to put a rocket ship on the moon. That's what he got in here, man. And you gonna put this in a cage? Uh-huh.
Kind of let a few things slip because it's after 5. So I'm just trying to check the updates that I have. You have these people that are quote unquote mystery people that run Rikers Island and have all the opinions on them, and nobody knows who they are. And the report cards. One guy's like a rich billionaire, who told me, yeah, I've never been to Rikers, I need to go there one day. Alexander Roth joined the Board of Corrections. Based on his attendance records, missed 13 meetings, but he still made the most important decision of the Board of Corrections out of the entire last 10 years of solitary confinement. We're going to be posted through activist groups, through social networks. We're going to publish them. The point is to attack all the systems. So as we replace report cards on the Board of Corrections, we'll be producing report cards on city councilmen, senators, assemblymen, everybody who has a decision in how our lives are structured, and let the public know who these people are and how out of touch they really are, and they make all the decisions. So, Dr. Cohen, who's been absent May 14th and was missing on July 6th, July 12th, November 9th, March 8th, April 13th, January 8th, May 8th, November 13th, January 8th, July 12th, March 14th, May 9th, September 10th, March 11th, made one meeting and made a decision to make everything.
The board itself is a 9-member body which has the authority to make rules, to develop standards and promulgate them regarding all aspects of the operation of the New York City Department of Correction. These standards, once promulgated, have the force of law in New York City.
Everybody needs to understand that these are the people that makes the decisions for their family members, for people that they love. And these people don't even care, man.
The number of beds in solitary confinement has expanded dramatically by the Department of Correction over the past 4 years. I think it's gone up about 40%.
I'm trying every step of the way. I'm making progress. We have a bill in place. We're making Department of Corrections in New York City adhere to solitary confinement rules and regulations, and at least changing it, even if they don't change it the way we want to change it. Today is going to be the first time that the Board of Corrections is meeting with grassroots organization activists previously incarcerated of the Jails Action Coalition around reconstructing the solitary confinement rules and the minimum standards on Rikers Island.
JAC Coalition has come to the board and said there is a problem with solitary confinement because there are too many people in solitary confinement serving too long sentences.
This is my first one.
Oh, me too.
My first one.
Oh, okay.
For this, it's my first one for Jack. Yeah. For Jack and Cake, it's my first one. I've been in other like LGBT ones where it's never this quiet for.
LGBT.
Yeah, it never is. That's because you always got the people. God hates this, and you're gonna die and burn and signs. Yeah, all that stuff.
You get a little more of the pushback. I don't think.
Yeah, get out of here! You're gonna die. And I'm like, so are you eventually. High five.
How you feeling?
I'm
looking
okay.
marvelous. I'm like speeding. Hey, how are you? How you doing?
They certainly are noticed by the Board of Correction, and they're certainly noticed by the Department of Correction.
We reject the petition, but because we were concerned about the issues around the use of solitary confinement.
Here in California, thousands of prisoners are on a hunger strike. They're showing solidarity with inmates of the Pelican Bay Maximum Security Prison.
Right now, you have the California hunger strikers where brothers and sisters are locked up. 30,000 actually are demanding the changes of solitary confinement to at least be humane. They're not even asking for freedom. They're asking for a humane environment.
We're here to inform the world that this is a violation of basic human rights. And today we say, stop solitary now! Stop solitary now! Stop solitary now!
Stop solitary now! Stop solitary now! Thousands of people! A lot of people today. Coming together all for the same cause. With no one to hear their cries. This was just everybody who's so dedicated just said, all right, we'll all take lunch at 12 o'clock and do it. Hey, can I get a picture with you guys? Can I get a picture? Come on. We all go get solitary? This is every rule that can end you up in a box. If you break one rule, literally it's set up that you never break only one. It's 106.10. An inmate shall obey all orders of department personnel promptly and without argument. You'll never, ever beat that rule. I gave you pants, socks, boots, t-shirt, shirt. You go into the yard, you don't have your t-shirt on. You know you're supposed to have a t-shirt under your shirt. That's a 106.10. You disobey that direct order because you knew that was a rule, instantly go into the box. So I try to work against these rules. This is like my daily Bible. It reminds me of, you know, what I had to live under, but it also reminds me of what I have to fight against. And I try to keep it as a constant reminder, an example that this is a certain amount of law. These 26 pages was what I had to live around.
In a perfect world, we wouldn't need special housing unit. We wouldn't need prisons. But the men and women who I represent work in the most dangerous situation in this country.
But I will say that in my experience after 40 years, use of segregation in an appropriate fashion is an important tool for correctional administrators, and we would have to be very, very cautious about taking it away from them. I think that if they could not segregate inmates at all, people would be less safe than they are today.
When I told my mom that I wanted to be a girl and stuff, my family had this idea that because I decided to be transgender, that I was gonna have a very difficult life. It was gonna be very heartbreaking, it was gonna be very difficult for me because of the path that I chose. So, to sit with my mother now and tell her how I was attacked and raped and hit and all this in jail and drugs and prostitution and stuff, it's a lot for her to handle. It's a lot, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, for a mother to hear that her child went through that, it's a lot, you know, it hurts. And I don't know if I want to give my mom that type of pain right now, you know?
I have to look in the camera, right? Because I want to get the numbers right. That's my problem. 4 out of 5 people, 5 out of 6, every prisoner is in solitary confinement for non-violent offenses. Vulnerable people should not be placed into solitary confinement. People with pregnancy women. Can I say that again? Pregnant women. This will drastically reduce the amount of solitary confinement containment. I don't know, I just put so much super emotional emphasis on this blurb in this project. I try not to have panic attacks. I know it sounds so pussy, but I don't know why I still have them. I don't know why I have them. And I hate talking, because when you talk to a psych and they're like, well, you know, you have sensory deprivation and that's normal and everybody goes through this. But I shouldn't have those problems. I'm free, you know? So it's like, I used to have those problems in the cell. Like if I didn't get my food tray, I knew the food was coming, like I would wild out, I felt a certain way, it was aggressive, and I wanted to, you know, because you have no control. Normal people are like, whew, what a hard day. For me, it's like my heart starts racing, and I start sweating, and then I start getting excited, and I start forgetting things, and then I'm speeding, and it's like, I had that when I first came home, and it was scary, because that was my first outbreak, that was my first real problem. Like people coming too close, people bumping you, people, you know, you just didn't know what to do. It's hard to do that sometimes because it's me, you know, but I'm trying. I'm trying.
Whenever my back's against that wall, stand tall, never fall, just out here tryna ball, tryna run while y'all crawl. Ain't by door, I'm appalled, gotta get it, never stall. Ducking, dodging, all these laws, while I'm hollering, fuck them all. Y'all looking for me, I'm right here, miles ahead, talking light years. No coward in me, I fight fears. You learn a lot living life here, how to fight peers and trust nobody, how to drink gin in a young body. They got a strap on everybody, these youngsters thinking they John got it. They wildin', man, I'm wildin' too. Fuck it, they ain't gon' wild and smooth. Bet you ain't never met a wilder dude. Running with a motherfucking wilder crew. Told y'all niggas just let me cool. Got a problem, dude, I got a problem too. Show y'all niggas what a monster do. Turn them haters to a pile of poo. Chip on my shoulder, got something to prove. Going all in, got something to lose. You boy a fool, know you heard the news. In the game, and I got the tools. Speak English like I'm shooting pool. Get the scene wet like I'm shooting hoops. Streets talking, I'm in the loop. Keep the block hot like a bowl of soup. It's smooth.